Hello.
Hi, John.
Hi, Lydia Criss.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, nice to finally talk to you. Thank you so much for giving me some time tonight to talk about your experiences with Peter Criss, who we all
Uh-huh.
know was your husband throughout the whole 70s, throughout the whole big part of Kiss.
Yes, yes,
I'm just glad that you called me, and I'm glad that we're having a chance to sit down and talk.
yes.
Um, so let's just get right into it. Um,
Okay.
How's the weather down there, by the way? I'm in New York too. I'm more towards Buffalo and Rochester, so we didn't get hit that
Oh,
hard. But how did you get hit hard?
you're, no, we're gonna get, actually, it's not gonna rain or anything until part of next, I think the day after Thanksgiving. So we got cold weather, but no precipitation, no rain, no snow, none of that. We
Oh, good.
had it. We had cold, last Sunday it was 70 degrees. I mean, it's crazy here.
I know. Well, anyway,
Now
that's
we're in
part of
now
living in
we're
New
in the
York.
30s.
I know.
Huh?
Well, that's part of living in New York, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You gotta go with the changes with the weather.
Well, it shouldn't be in the 70s, but that it was nice to have
Right,
that.
right, yeah,
But it should be somewhere around 40s, 50s. It is November.
yeah. Well, it gave us a little bit of a break. So,
Yeah.
well, I'll
So
start off.
How is it up there?
It's we well parts of Buffalo because I'm only about an hour away from Buffalo got slammed with almost 2 feet of snow. But
Yeah.
we live
Okay.
a little bit further south, so we didn't get hit as hard.
Oh,
Yeah,
they kept saying on the news here that it was going to be like 2 to 4 feet, and then sometime in some places 6 feet. I mean, it's crazy.
it is.
6 feet. It's
I know.
taller than me.
Stop with the snow, God.
Yeah, I know. I know. So,
So, if we could, I'd like to start. There's so much to talk about, and I don't want to hold. I mean, there could be hours of things to talk about with Peter Chris and
right.
Kiss.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start it out and have you talk about going back to the very, very first Kiss show at the Popcorn, which I know became the Coventry later, back January 30th,
It, became, it
1973.
became the it became the Coventry the next day. It
Oh,
was popcorn on. They performed there January 30th, 31st, and February 1st. January 30th, it was popcorn. January 31st and February 1st, it was the Coventry. But it
that's
changed while they were playing there.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, what can you remember about that very first show, like the day and leading up to it, and the night and everything, and all the craziness? I've heard that there's stories that there was less than 10 people in the crowd that night, or is that?
Oh, it was the people that worked in the club, and it was me, Jan Walsh, which was Jean's girlfriend,
Yeah.
and one of her friends, and that's all I remember
Oh my
being in the
God.
club. Yeah, it
Eh,
was empty.
Now be honest. Did they play with the same energy that they did in front of bigger audiences, or I
Well, no, because it's a small place. They
yeah,
didn't have what they had, in the bigger venues. They didn't have any smoke. They didn't have any
right,
fire. They didn't have they barely had costumes. I mean, they didn't even have whiteface in those days.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, it was kind of feminine makeup. They were, at the time, the New York Dolls were famous, and it was kind of feminine makeup. And then there was also in that era David Bowie and Alice Cooper.
right.
So it was more like that type of makeup. Maybe Gene might have went the Alice Cooper route, and Bowie. I don't know. Maybe someone else picked, one of kind of his style more.
Sure.
Whereas, not everybody was a monster. Everybody that was Gene. He the evil person. But even though Gene is a sweetheart, I mean, people just don't know that.
Right.
But I guess they know it by now. But anyway, he was the monster, but he didn't have monster makeup on yet.
Right.
Actually, I'm not sure. Oh no, it was actually when they were rehearsing in the loft. I helped him put on some of his makeup, but it was feminine makeup. So it was basically, like the New York Dolls.
Now, I know this question's probably been asked before, and I don't know if it's been asked to you, but since it's in my mind right now as you're talking about this, can you just give like maybe a one sentence or like a short synopsis of each band member's personality? And I'm sure you know Peter's better than anybody else's, but I'm sure you know the other three too.
Yeah. Let's see. Gene. Well, to one sentence, I don't know about that. Gene was very very into the finances,
Right.
and he was very grateful that he had come from
Israel.
Israel, and he made it. He
Yeah.
was very very appreciative of that. Paul was the funny, he was a funny guy. He was always cracking jokes and laughing. And Ace, same with Ace. But Paul was more serious about writing songs.
The music.
Yeah, the music.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas Ace was more into getting drunk.
He was the party.
I mean, even though I love them all, Ace was he's a character, because I got to know him better when we both lived in the same neighborhood in Manhattan. In, I guess it was the 80s. Yeah, he might have moved out at the end of the 80s.
Okay. But yeah, I just thought the personalities, not the demon and the star child and the cat and the space ace, not those, but I mean the qualities, the personalities of the men always complemented. They complemented each other. You got the two party guys and you got the two business guys and the music guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Peter was believe it or not, Peter was a really really nice guy. I mean, he well, I married him, so what can I say?
Right.
He had a way of making you laugh that was unbelievable. I mean, he was a real character, and he has a split personality, which I'm sure most people know because he did fight a lot with them. But deep down, I think he has a heart of gold.
Yeah, that's what I have always.
One thing I gotta
too.
say is Peter was very generous with. I notice it with a lot of, even till this day, he's always giving things away. He just, go ahead, take my belt. Like people show me, a belt that I remember him wearing, and they said he gave it to me. I mean, his robe from Japan was on my girlfriend's wall.
That's something that is something to think about because, is Gene Simmons going to be giving away his stuff? I don't think so.
Gene has more stuff than you could ever think of. I mean, he had a room at one time. I don't think there's enough room in one room anymore, because I know fans that have a room full of Kiss stuff and it's bursting the wall. They need more room. I mean, I have a friend that has his whole basement is total Kiss, and he's got racks and racks like you'd see in a department store of T-shirts and jackets and whatever.
Well, it's funny you say that because I'm sitting in my basement right now and I'm starting to. It's not real big yet, but I got the post.